Good morning, Cardano family. It's your boy Boomin coming at you with yet another video, guys. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button, that like button, and that notification bell. We're back with another video. I got my hot tea and honey locked and loaded, ready to go. Let's get the show started. All right, so now we all know what's going on over there in China. I just wanted to bring it up real quick. Okay, not your keys, not your coins. Get your crypto off of exchanges, obviously. But again, guys, this is why we are here, okay? There's no other reason. We are here because of self-custody. We're here because we want to be our own bank. Not your keys, not your money. Trusted officials, trusted, banks, central planners, all that stuff, they don't have your best interest at heart. Just like Celsius, just like Voyager, just like BlockFi, when you put your trust of your money into the hands of someone else, no one cares more about your money than you do. They will never do. This is why crypto is so important, and this is why I am here every day spreading the gospel of not only Vechain, but more importantly Cardano. I'm still a big Vechain bull, but that's more centralized. Cardano's more decentralized, and yeah, this is why I'm here. This is why I talk about Cardano every single day, because this is happening in other countries, but it can happen here. Don't get it twisted. All right, it can happen here. All it takes is people to get desperate enough, and the status quo being broken. Don't think I'm kidding. It took a relatively mild pandemic. It's not like it's Ebola or anything, to literally destabilize the whole world. So just keep that in the back of your mind, guys. The only person that cares about your future is you. Not your keys, not your crypto. Let's go ahead and move on. So this is actually pretty cool. Cardano records substantial DeFi inflows over a 7-day period as the number of dApps increase. So we looked at this about a couple days ago. Data from DeFi Llama shows that the Cardano ecosystem has drawn in more capital, with a positive increase of 7.36 over the past 24 hours in the total value locked. Cardano's DeFi experienced inflows of roughly 21 million between July 13th and July 18th. The total value locked increased from around 109 million to 128 million on July 18th. So we took a look at DeFi Llama a couple days ago. Wing Riders is pretty dominant with 54 million total value locked. MinSwap in the second position with 42.94 million locked up. SundaeSwap is third with 24.9. So DeFi is just chugging along on Cardano, guys, and it's going to continue to do so. Obviously, do your own research. Don't ape everything in to your ecosystem, whatever that may be, whether it be Ring Riders or MusliSwap or SundaeSwap. So let's go ahead and move on. So Trust Wallet, this is actually pretty cool. Trust Wallet is now integrating Cardano. So Trust Wallet disclosed an exciting update in the announcement on its official site. In the late hours of July 29, Cardano is considered one of the most promising ecosystems in the crypto space, which is why it's a significant milestone for the Trust Wallet community. The integration opens doors for the opportunities for Trust Wallet users interested in ADA. According to the post, the benefits include being able to buy ADA directly on the Trust Wallet app, having the ability to store, send, and receive ADA and other tokens within the Cardano ecosystem, and using the Trust Wallet app and be able to track ADA's performance on the app. So that's pretty cool. Another on-ramp for ADA. That's what we like to see. And then finally, guys, I'm going to play the whole interview here with Charles Hoskinson and World Mobile. I think it is definitely valuable information here. About 10 to 12 minutes long, so strap in. I love you guys so much. Don't let your memes be dreams, and I will talk to you guys tomorrow with the Vechain and Cardano updates. Have a great day. Let's actually not do that. We could just play it here.
Yeah, so we went last year to Zanzibar, and we had a chance to see some of the towers that you guys put up. And it's always a difficult question of how do you get the cost of coverage per kilometer and the capacity costs to a reasonable level where you actually can connect the unconnected in an economically viable way. And what's great is that there's been an enormous amount of innovation in the last 25 years in the telecommunication industry, but because of the market structures of the telecommunication industry, there's really no incentive to roll out that innovation. So in many ways, we're stuck on technology that was built in the 1990s, the 2000s, in some cases the 1980s in telco, in an age of cell phones, an age of software-defined networking. So there's been some great technologies, like for example, the utilization of balloons for ISPs. And there's been a lot of innovations that I think World Mobile is pioneering and leading, inspired by things that came before, like Project Loon, but in a unique way that I think are productized, that are going to be very easy to roll out and deploy amongst the developing world. So ultimately allowing the connection of the unconnected. But also what's really cool is that infrastructure can be democratized, can be decentralized, just kind of like Bitcoin with mining nodes. You can kind of have these new concepts of people providing telecommunication services across the entire community. So in our meetings with World Mobile, we were really surprised to see how far along they were, and particularly in Zanzibar, I think it only takes 2 balloons to cover the entire country, and that's just extraordinary. And the fact that these are not hypothetical things, but they're in deep design, deep manufacturing, and they're near horizon. So not 3 years, but much sooner. And that's exciting from a product viewpoint. And it's something that in every single conversation I have with African leaders and leaders abroad, in general, they always talk about, well, how do we improve connectivity at a lower possible cost? Not $400 per kilometer, but $40 a kilometer or something like that. And I think you guys have a really extraordinary offering, and it's just exciting to see it go from an idea, which it was 5 years ago, and now a reality that is going to transform and change the lives of millions of people. Well, if you're going to say we're going to go transform the developing world and we're going to offer all these services, so we term it RealFi, you start at the top of the stack, and so we call those RealFi applications. And so those are things like microfinance and remittances and a litany of other financial services that people don't possess. So when you go and try to deploy that, let's say in Kenya, then you realize, well, wait a minute, I'm missing some stuff that's more foundational. So identity, compliance, reputation systems. So then when you go to try to deploy that, then in some cases you actually say, well, wait a minute, I'm missing other stuff that's even more foundational, in particular infrastructure. So you go from RealFi Core down to RealFi physical infrastructure, and there you need telecommunications, energy, and computing. So infrastructure of telecommunications is some of the most fundamental, and it's really the thing that needs to be the highest emphasis if the goal is to digitize Africa and get Africa onto a digital currency standard, onto cryptocurrency technology. So it's super important that we have a diverse range of partners in all of those verticals, but one of the most important relationships is the World Mobile relationship, because frankly, nothing gets done if you can't move packets of information around. We love our cryptography, we love our dApps, we love all of these amazing things in the application space, and entrepreneurs want to innovate, but if people are unconnected, you just simply can't make that work. So this is kind of one of those basement projects where you must have it done. And what's really exciting is not only can you do it, but you can do it in a new way that doesn't allow the centralization of power. You can do it in a new way that allows the democratization of the connectivity. And you can do it in a new way that crosses borders. We tend to think of ISPs, telecommunication companies, in terms of the boundaries of nation states. So there's an American telco, there's a German telco, a Tanzanian telco, a Kenyan telco. But the power of a blockchain-based system is that it's intrinsically global, and it uses the same notion of fuel across the space. The other thing is it's intrinsically inclusive in that anybody can be a member and be part of this. And what's so cool is once those wheels start moving, then you can bring the community to bear, and they can build their own applications and really cool ideas, and then it becomes this big open source mesh. So instead of living in this ossified, siloed, fragmented, highly monopolized environment, which is not innovating at all. You can actually live in a very fluid, dynamic environment, which is rapidly innovating. And every year, like the iPhone or like your Samsung Galaxy or these things, it gets better, faster, cheaper. It gets more reliable. You get more capabilities, more programmability, and so forth. Telco needs to work this way because it's so foundational to the way humanity works. And part of having World Mobile here is to explain that story to the rest of the space. We go to Consensus and you have all these booths around and they're selling all these things, and we're saying, okay, well, some of you are just trying to replicate the legacy financial system, but you put crypto on top. You're not really decentralized. And some of you really do believe that this is going to change everything, but the physical infrastructure is still highly centralized and brittle, and you're at the mercy of whether they let you in or not. So you can't just do these things in piecemeal. You have to do the entire stack, and it's nice that people are actually talking about this in a meaningful, tangible way. Most people, when you tell, oh, we're going to innovate in telco, they think you're nuts. Or you have to spend $20 billion or $30 billion to make it happen. To innovate and spend just a little and yet have a result of millions of people is an incredible story. And it's really exciting to see how quickly you guys have moved along. And I'm glad you were able to tell that story while you were here at Consensus. We actually started getting into the meat and potatoes, the design specifics of the air nodes and how they're tethered, and how you get good connectivity, and what the radio looks like, and what types of systems would be used. And there was a lot of discussion about our needs. For example, we entered in Burundi, and only 2.5% of the country has reliable internet connectivity. So when I sat with the president of Burundi, it's like, help me connect my people. He wants to do this. It's good for his people. It's good for his nation. It's how he'll get direct foreign investment, and it's how you can bring crypto to it. I didn't have a lot to offer him when I had that meeting last year. And now when we see the rollout in Zanzibar and these types of technologies, the cost that they come in at, the reliability, it's nice to have that option. And we're not a passive participant. We can buy this type of infrastructure or partner to get this type of infrastructure. Then there were a lot of discussions about strategy of different marketplaces that are mutually beneficial, and then strategy about growth as well. So if we're really serious about banking the unbanked, we need to make sure that every part of that stack is represented. So connectivity is certainly very important, as is energy, as is computing, and so forth. And we've met throughout the years with various partners, and I wish I had solutions as good in the energy space and the computing space as I do in the connectivity space, because I have confidence you guys are going to get it done. It's the best thing in the world as a CEO when you have a strategic partner where you don't really have to worry too much about that partner. You just know that they're going to figure it out and they're going to show up on time. And that's what we feel in meeting with the team and seeing how the team has grown, and just seeing the passion that especially Mickey has. He's never lost that fight. He's never lost that fire. I've known him for years, and he's always pushing hard, and he's a guy that just gets this done. In fact, he showed up a little late for the event because he was in Kigali. And I think, how many world leaders did he meet with when he was there? Like half a dozen or something like that?
Yeah, I think in terms of different countries, I think there were maybe over 20.
Yeah.
It's quite really significant.
Yeah, the big ITU meeting in Kigali, and I was like, wow, that's just incredible. And he flew for 40 hours to get here to Consensus. And I'd be jet lagged as hell. He shows up, he's got fire in his belly. He's like, let's go, let's fight. And the team carries that same spirit and that same momentum. And that's frankly how you get things done. It's a tough space. It's a tough business. It's got a lot of sharks in it. There's a lot of strange things, government monopolies, weird politics, and everything has to be done on a case-by-case basis. And you have to saddle this dual demand of being an entrepreneur and innovating and coming to market with a 10x of cost reduction and capabilities. But then at the same time, you have to be a politician. You have to negotiate with people, do the retail politics, and convince them the things you're doing are good for people. And I think this team is starting to really round out and build those capacities. I remember when I was in Zanzibar, that old saying, listen, learn, and assist. I stole that from you guys. But it was great to see that. And also just to see how you can start talking about other things. Like the blue economy was something that wasn't in my parlance before I went to Zanzibar. But after talking with the president there, with you guys, it's something we think a lot more about. I was born on an island. I was born in Hawaii, and yeah, fishing is an important thing, and it's a huge thing, and overfishing is a huge problem, and global warming is really creating a lot of problems for these small island nations. And the only way they're going to get out of it is with technology, but that technology requires connectivity. And you're not going to have connectivity, connecting something to a satellite or connecting something to a fiber optic cable tethered to the boat 50 miles out, you need to have different models of connectivity. So these air nodes in particular are, I think, a great vehicle to really help provide low-cost coverage and connectivity to and capacity to people who are in these types of industries. And it's great to see them be piloted at scale, because we're not talking about 5,000 people. We're talking about 2 million people just in Zanzibar. That's an enormous scale to demonstrate that the model works, and it's good. So we're excited to see that evolve, and we're in deep discussions about how we can work together, help each other. And you have a great network, we have a great network, and there's a lot of allies in our network on the VC side and strategic partner side and NGO side who are imminently interested in this. There's also a lot of people in the ESG movement who are imminently interested in this. They keep making these broad proclamations like COP26. $130 trillion, they say, is going to cost to pay for it. Not billion, trillion. So if you're like, okay, well, how do you do that? And how do you rebuild the world economy in a different way? Well, you need a fundamentally different way of doing base infrastructure that is more fair, and it can have built into it principles that are better for everybody. So getting into the blockchain space, I think, is the first major step, and it's cool to have infrastructure partners that do these types of things, and we can collaborate in that respect. Well, I am going to go back to Zanzibar at some point, and I'd love to connect to your network with my phone and download something, and we go out in the ocean and go fishing and download something. So getting the physical infrastructure to the next level, because then it's real. It's one thing to have schematics and patents and these things. It's another thing when you actually can demonstrate at scale a network with millions of people. And again, that appears to be near horizon. It's hard to know with global supply chains and these other things, but there's a lot of confidence in the team that things will get done, and a lot of people working extremely hard. So that excites me, because once it's there, then it's an anchor point to create a beachhead on the main continent of Africa, and actually go to Tanzania and all these other places and talk about, well, how do we replicate the Tanzanian miracle, the Zanzibarian miracle on the mainland? And so I'm very excited about that, and I'd love to take it to America if we can. If the state of Wyoming has some of the most remote areas and least connectivity of any U.S. state, 500,000 people, a big landmass. It would be a lot of fun to see how we can improve connectivity there without having to launch a bunch of satellites or any of these types of things. And so that spirit of innovation and that spirit of democratization, this is really the part that I think that collaboration can be most productive with. So it's a lot of hard work, and it's easy for me because I just show up every 6 months and talk to you guys and get to see. You guys have to live, eat, sleep, and breathe it, and it's good every 6 months to see that you're moving along and getting it done.
Hope you enjoyed the video, guys. Before we end, I'd like to say thank you to our wonderful Patreons. Without you guys, I don't know if I'd still be doing this. Thank you so much for your wonderful support. Marilyn for Crypto, Anthony Andrews, Feruz Den, Kyle Bachi, CryptoSVT.si, Angeltopia, DNC Vale, Leon Jackson II, Kragan, Allflare LLC, and Lucky Sunshine Token. Thank you again. I humbly appreciate you. Go ahead, click the links down below, hit the like button and the subscribe button, and we'll be back with another Vechain and Cardano video.